Hello, everyone. This is the first recording for Aristotle, a class on the Nicomachean ethics. And today I would like to give a kind of introduction to the project of the Nicomachean ethics as a whole. And I want to do that by looking just at the very beginning. In fact, the first sentence. That sentence is famous and tricky. It is an extraordinarily complex beginning of a treatise. Aristotle says that every expertise, in Greek that is techne, every inquiry, in Greek that is methodos, every action, in Greek that is praxis, and every undertaking, prohairesis, seems to seek some good. And because of that, it is rightly stated, Aristotle says, that all things seek the good. So, to take it slowly, the beginning of this sentence gives a kind of list of types of human activities. The first type is expertise. A techne is a profession, a skill, something that one trains for and then spends a significant part of one's life engaging in. An inquiry is, in that respect, quite similar. One first needs to learn things and study so that one is then able to engage in inquiry. And again, that is a fairly expansive kind of human activity. The third item on the list, action, praxis, that refers arguably to individual particular actions. And so that is the item that is maybe most expected when one looks at the theory of action. One is maybe thinking primarily or first of particular actions. But we see here on this list that this is just one of the items that Aristotle is thinking of when he talks about human activities. And the fourth item on the list is undertaking or project or endeavor. And here the thought is that at times we make decisions for kind of larger scale undertakings, which then may comprise any number of small scale actions. But those larger scale projects or undertakings or endeavors, they are also part of human activities. So the claim is that all of those human activities, and presumably the list is exhaustive, all of those human activities seek some good. And Aristotle says they seem to seek some good. But he doesn't use seeming here in the sense of merely seeming as opposed to what's really the case. Rather, he endorses this premise. So we can ascribe to Aristotle the view that all human activities seek some good. And now the sentence continues with, and because of that, because all human activities seek some good, it is rightly stated, says Aristotle, that all things seek the good. And now here's the problem. Aristotle says if we kind of set aside some of the details of the sentence, if you break it down, then what he is saying is that all human activities seek some good, and therefore they all seek the good. But that doesn't seem to follow. Really, what would follow is that they all seek some good. And that, of course, is a problem because now it looks as if the Nicomachean Ethics, one of the most influential treatises in the history of Western ethics, starts with a fallacy. Because Aristotle seems to say that all human activities seek some good and hence they all seek the good. But why would that follow? Why wouldn't it only follow that they seek some good? Now, here's a suggestion. If we don't want to charge Aristotle with starting his inquiry into ethics with a fallacy, we could instead say that the first sentence is programmatic and that the density or complexity of the sentence really is a way of introducing a cluster of questions. The biggest among those questions would be, well, why should this follow? Why should it follow from all human activities seeking some good that in fact they all seek the good? And to break that down a bit further into more specific research questions, here's what I want to suggest is, as it were, the cluster of questions that one is going to think through if one embarks on the project of thinking through the Nicomachean ethics. The first of these questions is, what does it even mean to say that all human activities seek some good? In the second sentence of the Nicomachean ethics, Aristotle identifies goods and ends. What is an end of an action? That's one big question. The second question to consider is, who is Aristotle referring to when he says it is rightly stated? Who states that all things seek the good? And, as a reader of ancient philosophy, you may wonder, is he referring to Socrates? Is he referring to Plato? Does he maybe invoke the so-called Socratic paradox that everyone desires the good? And if yes, does he invoke it in order to offer an alternative version of that type of idea? Or what is he doing? The third question is, what is the good? And that, of course, is a very big scale question. It is also a question that prior to him, other ancient philosophers have discussed, in particular and famously Plato. And that is the question that a lot of the first book of the Nicomachean Ethics is concerned with. And so I'm going to end here, as it were, with the invitation to think through those three questions. What does it mean that every action or activity seeks some good? Who are the people who state rightly in Aristotle's view that everything seeks the good? And what is the good?